So following the same flow as the first part of this chapter, we learned how to solve an inequality, and now we're going to solve an inequality with fractions. So just reminding you that if a question has fractions, you can get rid of them because of the multiplication property of equality, which is that as long as you multiply both sides by the same thing, you can multiply by whatever you want. So here's a 1.5 question. 1/4 times x plus 3 plus 2 is less than 3/4 times x plus 8. You could just multiply the quarter through and multiply the 3/4 through and deal with a question with fractions, right? There's nothing actually wrong with that. We make people fear fractions, but you can totally just carry them through and have that be fine as well. Or you can think, I can get rid of these fractions if I multiply by the lowest common denominator. So when the question is written like this, you've got a 1/4 times x plus 3. This is all one term. Some people might like it better the way that 1.1 would ask these questions, which was instead of 1/4 times x plus 3, they would do it as 1 times x plus 3, which is just x plus 3, over 4. So this is the same as this. Okay, so whether you have 1/4 times x plus 3 or x plus 3 divided by 4, it's the same thing. And so then the same thing with 3/4 times x plus 8, that can be written as 3 times x plus 8 divided by 4. So in 1.1, all the questions were written like this, and then for some reason in 1.5, they switch all the questions to being written like this. But if you like the way that 1.1 wrote it, feel free to put these as over 4. Or in 1.1, if you're like, ooh, I like the way that 1.5 is writing them, feel free to write them like this. Totally up to you. Okay, what I'm going to do is try to work with the one on the left. So we've got 1/4, so we have a denominator of 4, plus 2, which has a denominator of 1, plus 3/4, which has a denominator of 4. My lowest common denominator would be 4, which means I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4 to keep that equality and to get rid of the fractions. So in reality, what I'm going to do is multiply every term by 4. So I'm going to multiply the 1/4 times x plus 3 times 4. I'm going to multiply the 2 by 4. And I'm going to multiply the 3/4 times x plus 8 by 4. Now, here I used square brackets, here I used round. I mean, to be technically correct, if you have round brackets inside, you should do a square bracket on the outside, right? So this one should have been like this as well, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, now why do we do this? We do this so that we can get rid of the denominators. Here I have 4 times 1/4, which is the same as 4 divided by 4, which is 1, right? I'm left with 1 times 1, which is 1, times x plus 3. And then I still have this 4 times 2, which is 8. And then over here, I've got this 4 divided by 4, which is 1. So 4 times 3 divided by 4, right? 12 divided by 4, which is 3, or 4 divided by 4, which is 1 times 3. It doesn't matter, but I'm left with 1 times 3 is 3. Oops, make that blue. Times x plus 8. So now I'm back to a nice linear inequality that I can solve. So I'm going to distribute. So I end up with x plus 3 plus 8 is less than, distribute the 3x plus 24. And then I'm going to collect like terms. I get x plus 11 is less than 3x plus 24. Now up to you. If you want your x's on the left, you're going to end up with a negative coefficient. So when you divide, you're going to have to flip your inequality sign, or you put your x's on the right. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to put them on the right. I don't like flipping my inequality sign. So I end up with 11 is less than 2x plus 24. Then I'm going to minus 24 from each side. And I get negative 13 is less than 2x. Then to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I end up with x is greater than negative 13 halves. Right? Awesome. If you had written it like this, right, you're just multiplying every term by 4, and then maybe it's a little bit easier to see that 4 divided by 4 is 1. I'm left with 1 times x plus 3. The 4 divided by 4 is 1. I'm left with 3 times x plus 8, right? However you like to see it is great. How do I display my answer? Well, this is my solution set. My solution set is that x is greater than negative 13 halves. So that's the only downside of putting your x's on the right, is that you have to read this as x is greater than negative 13 halves. And then I'm going to display this as a graph. You put your negative 13 halves somewhere on your number line, I don't care where. X is greater than that, so you're going to make your arrow go to the right. And then because it's not equal to, I'm going to put a round bracket. To do that in an interval notation, you just take that negative 13 halves and then you say where it's going. Well, this arrow is pointing towards infinity, so it'd be negative 13 halves to infinity. Awesome. If you're feeling confident, feel free to pause the video. If you're not feeling confident, we can go through this one together. So again, I have 1, 2, 3 terms. Okay, for each of those terms, what are the denominators? I have a denominator of 2, I have a denominator of 1, and I have a denominator of 3. So my lowest common denominator will be 6. If you don't like the way that that's written it, you could write it as 3 times 2x minus 1 all over 2 plus 2 is less than 1 times 6x plus 5, so I don't need the 1 if I don't want to, all over 3. So if you would rather see it like that, okay, the lowest common denominator is 6, totally fine. Or keep going with this one. So since my lowest common denominator is 6, I'm going to multiply every term by 6. I end up with 6 times 3 halves times 2x minus 1 plus 6 times 2 is less than 6 times 1/3 times 6x plus 5. Okay, now let's do that division. So for this one, I've got 6 divided by 2 is 3. So for me, I'm going to write this that I have 9, 3 times 3 is 9, times 2x minus 1. And if you don't understand how I got the 9, you could also think of this as 18 over 2, which is also 9, right? But I did 6 divided by 2 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9. And then I've got this plus 12 is less than 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I'm left with 2 times 1, which is 2, times the 6x plus 5. And then I'm just solving this linear inequality. So I've got 18x minus 9 plus 12 is less than 12x plus 10. I'm going to collect like terms. I have 18x plus 3 is less than 12x plus 10. Now I'm going to isolate my x's on one side, so I'm going to minus the 12x from each side. I end up with 6x plus 3 is less than 10. Then I'm going to Then I'm going to minus the 3 from each side. I end up with 6x is less than 7. And then lastly, I'm just going to divide each side by 6. And I end up with x is less than 7. 6. So both of these gave, fractional answers. They're not the best, but they are the answer. And that's okay, because then all we're going to do is state our solution set. So x is less than 7/6. Then we're going to graph it. So I'm going to put a 7/6 somewhere on my number line. Less than is to the left. Because it's not equal to, I'm going to do a round bracket. Then for my interval notation, I've got this 7/6, and then it's going down to where? Well, it keeps going down to negative infinity, and negative infinity will always get a round bracket. Awesome.